Thank you very much. The build-up was too good. You're going to be disappointed. I guess I'll start by saying that I would like to thank the organizers of this event for really, in my opinion, taking the risk of saying we're going to get an 18-year-old to speak. And I'll admit, when I was asked, I looked on the website, all the other speakers, and I thought, they've made a mistake. I don't have gray hair. I'm not meant for this. I don't have the credentials. But I guess when I started to think about this, I started to think about what I do when I'm going out into schools and communities and speaking to other young people about storytelling. And I think the fact that I was introduced as a storyteller is really a testament to where we are in the world and where we are in Canada. So part of what I do, I go out to young people and I talk about how storytelling, the best storytelling, can often be a catalyst for change and for movement. And I also say to them that the best stories never begin at the start of the story. They don't start at the beginning. The best stories start in the middle or start somewhere at the end. So let's start in 2017. In 2017, I'll be just 23 years old. That's it. I wasn't alive for the celebrations in '67, and in fact, my parents weren't even alive in 1967. But I will be alive in 2067, I think, which is pretty good. So, yeah, I was born in 1994, the same age as Justin Bieber, another great young Canadian. Also trying to help our image worldwide. But what will be going on in the world in 2017? I guess that's the real question. What will be going on in the world? Will we have a new mega city? In India, they're estimating that we will have a new largest hydroelectric dam on the planet in 2017. The last documents classified in the Kennedy assassination will be released. What's going to be going on in 2017? In Saudi Arabia, along the Red Sea, we will have a new tallest building that the planet has ever seen. It's going to be over 1 kilometer high. That's an achievement that shows, how far we can push the limit. We can scrape the clouds. That's what's going to be going on in 2017. But I guess the question for us is what's going to be going on in Canada? Will it be 2 years? 2 years will have passed since our most recent federal election. Mike Duffy will be Prime Minister. We'll edit that one out. But what will be going on in Canada? Of course, the big one, as we all know here today and we've been talking about, is that we will be celebrating 150 years. And how can we do it? In a world of environmental and economic disasters, and I'm assuming that probably won't have changed by 2017, how can we make noise? In a world where there's a kilometer-high skyscraper, how can we make enough noise that not only does every Canadian rumble in excitement in 2017, but so that the rest of the world hears the noise that we can make? When I tell people about stories, I often say that the best part of a story is curiosity. And curiosity is actually really what I'm here to talk to you about today. And it's my belief and my understanding that curiosity can be the energy by which we drive our young people to participate in these celebrations. So when I finally got to thinking about what I could offer to the 2017 Starts Now conference, I actually ended up being led to thinking about the two experiences in my life when I felt the most Canadian. And what I mean by that is the two experiences in my life when I have felt a truly gratifying and fulfilling sense of national pride. And that's where I was brought when I was thinking about what I could say today to all of you. So there's a great quote from Albert Einstein. In fact, I guess there's probably several great quotes from Albert Einstein. But one that I really like, he said once, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." Of course, we all know he indeed was very talented, but it's my understanding and my guess that all the talents that Einstein had would have been manifested in his childhood through curiosity. And that's what happened for me. And, I'm young, but I do remember the days when we didn't have Facebook and iPhones and iPods, and my curiosity was actually awoken in me on a Windows 98 computer. It was a cream-colored computer on an old operating system, the 98 standing for 1998, of course. And we didn't have internet at the time, at least my family, of course. Back then, my parents thought the internet was a really shady place. It was a place where I would go and I'd end up in a chat room, I'd meet a creepy man, and we'd meet up in an alley, and I'd get kidnapped forever. So the internet machine was not a good place. So instead, they got me an internet substitute. They said, there's so much knowledge out there on the internet that Donovan is missing out on because we think it's, a bad thing. So they bought me this thing called Encarta. Anybody ever hear of Encarta? It was this CD, this encyclopedia, and you put it in your computer, install the program, and it had tens of thousands of articles. about so many topics. And that was when the curiosity was awoken for me. I can remember going on there and seeing for the first time, at 6 years old, panoramics of Easter Island, to a video of Elvis Presley swaying his hips and snapping his fingers, to an audience of screaming women. So the curiosity was awoken, and I would get up each day thinking, what's going to happen today? Am I going to look at a woolly mammoth? Am I going to look at an old Egyptian pharaoh? What is the curiosity? I could remember I would invite family and friends into my house, and I would stand in front of them for hours, riddling off all this information I had learned on Encarta. I know you're all probably thinking, this guy had no friends his whole life. So my life became this thirst for knowledge, and it wasn't until years later that I actually put Encarta to use on an academic basis. The school project that I got was to design a display board which reflected this title that had been put on Canada. This was back in, say, around 2005, and I wouldn't be able to tell you the source, I can't remember, but somebody had said that Canada, it could have been a magazine maybe, had named Canada the greatest country in the world to live in. And our class project at the time was to find out and reflect this new title on a display board. So I did something that I had never done before. I went home, I went on Encarta, and I typed in Canada. I had been so focused on the rest of the world that I had taken my own country for granted. And when I typed in Canada, the results, they just blew me away. And a week later, all the usual suspects were on my display board. The Tommy Douglases, the Sir Frederick Bantings, the Lester B. Pearsons, pictures of the Rockies and the Calgary Stampede, and of course Cape Spear, which I hadn't even been to at the time. So just like that, I had realized that although we have such a global understanding, that perhaps sometimes we have to sharpen that focus on our own country. So that experience happened, and I went out and I learned all about Canada, and a curiosity had been awoken in me that I didn't know, and that was a Canadian curiosity. And that's really what I think we have to ignite and invoke in 2017. It's my understanding that curiosity will lead to character. If curiosity is fostered in the right way, and by that I mean fostered through education and fostered through community, through top-notch, high-quality education, which is built upon the cutting-edge technology that we have, that we can build character through curiosity. And for me, that happened. Character led to volunteerism. Character led to social justice and environmental issues. So for me, this is where I was going in life. A little bit lost here. So when this happened, and I started going on this path of environmental justice, I ended up in the Canadian Arctic, as you had alluded to. And that was the second experience for me when I felt the most Canadian. Because I found myself when I was 16 with my feet being numbed by a melting glacier in Ayuituk National Park. And that experience when I was there, I can remember writing in my expedition journal that when I was in the Arctic for the first time, I felt that magic and possibility still existed in a world which seems to get smaller with every click of a mouse. And when I was in the Arctic, I started to realize environmental issues, and curiosity, and a Canadian curiosity, was awoken in me. So, what do we have to do in 2017? What's the challenge that we face? Ken Robinson, one of the most well-known TED speakers, one of the most well-known voices in education on the planet, he said recently that curiosity is the engine of achievement. And I believe that with all of my heart. It definitely is the engine of achievement. But I'm getting worried that that engine might stall in Canada. And I think in some cases, perhaps it is stalling. And my call out to Canadians is that to search up Tommy Douglas before you search up Neil Armstrong. Not that I have a problem with Mr. Armstrong, but search up Tommy Douglas first. My call out to Canadians is to put your feet in a glacier in the Arctic before you put your feet in the sands of a beach in Greece. That's the Canadian curiosity that we need to awaken. So I'm running out of time here, so I'll say this. My challenge to Canadians is to build the tallest tower on the planet in 2017. That's my challenge. They're doing it right now, and I think we have to start construction ourselves. Start construction in our communities. So I say to Canadians, if we want to make enough noise that the whole world can hear us in 2017, we need to build our own tallest tower on the planet. And this tower will not be built by by concrete or steel or glass. This tower will be built on a Canadian curiosity, which is fostered by top-notch education, by our government, which can be a role model for exploration and for our natural environment. That's what we need. So I say to you all, let's build the tallest tower in 2017 in the world, and let's make our young Canadians curious. Thank you very much.
Did you say you were 18?
18, yeah.
Oh my God. Well, you were where you didn't belong here. You belong.
Thank you.
You belong. Your comment about young people and engaging young people. You know, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I won't describe what she's engaged with in terms of popular culture, but let's say it's not the Arctic. So how do we get your generation to buy in? You know, to what? Is there literally a technical, is there an app for that, if you know what I'm saying? How do we do it?
I think the point there would be what I said when I said to start construction in our communities. Mm-hmm. And community, that word has come up so many times today. And I think that if we want to engage our young people, if we want to get your 14-year-old daughter to start thinking about the Arctic, it's going to be her immediate community which would foster that. And it's also going to be if she turns on the news and she sees that, you know, we have a government which is investing in some of the dirtiest fossil fuel resources in the world, she needs to be able to see that her community and her country is role modeling the action that we need in our country. Mm-hmm. So I'll say that if we want to engage our young people, which I try to do so often, we have to tell them the stories of the past 150 years and engage the curiosity in that way. But most of all, we just have to be those role models. And we have to start the construction for that tallest tower in our communities.
Thanks, Donovan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.